Hello everyone, welcome back to another edition of Rivera Urban Homestead. This time guys, we're going to be messing with our tomato plants. The two tomato plants that I bought from Lowe's have really started to take off. They have flowers and they even have some tomatoes on them. So what we're going to do this weekend is we are going to feed them. We're going to feed the soil and we're going to feed the plant. So the two ways we're going to do it is with organic granular fertilizer, which that is a slow release fertilizer. It'll break down as the microorganisms in the soil break it down, and it'll slowly feed your plant. This is fish fertilizer. It's basically just crushed up fish. It's organic. This we add into a water container. We mix it with water, and then we just pour it all over the plant and the soil around the plant. And that'll give it just a quick boost of some food. I prefer to use the organic fertilizer. If you want to use the Miracle Grows and all that stuff, that's fine, you can use it. But the NPK in that stuff is way high, so you should really do half the dose. If it says use a half a cup for a gallon, I would use a quarter of a cup for a gallon. Vice versa, you gotta half that stuff. This, it's not that much. Like, the fertilizer is a 5-1-in-1. 5 nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium. So that's a mild feeding fertilizer. It does kind of smell a little though. You probably don't want to use it indoors. And then the Dr. Earth. This is the Dr. Earth homegrown organic. This has beneficial soil microbes plus mycorrhizin. So that's pretty good. And this is a 4-6-3. So we're going to mix in some of this to the soil, and then we're going to kind of bathe the tomato plants in the fertilizer. But one thing we have to do to it is prune the bottoms of the tomato plants. There's really a lot of leaves down there. There's not enough airflow underneath the bottom, and I'll show you that when we get out there. So let's get started. Okay, so you see what I'm talking about with this plant. There's just way too much growth down here, and there's not enough airflow going in between the stems. I like to keep it with a little airflow at the base. That helps with any downy mildew or any soil like diseases that get splashed up onto the plant. If you don't have the leaves there, it's a lot better. So let's just kind of take off the bottom stuff here. That's probably good for this side. See, that opened up the stems now. Now the air can go through there. Let's go around the other side and do the same thing. Might as well weed it too while we're at it. Get the weeds out of there. Alright, way better. Now we have some room for air under here. Let's get rid of this guy. And as you can see, like I said, we are getting some tomatoes in there. There's a nice little stand. It is kind of windy, so the plants are blowing around, but we got tomatoes, we got tons of flowers. You're going to really benefit from a little burst of fertilizer. And this one is that Husky Cherry Red. The other one over here is the Beefsteak. And there you can see some tomatoes there. There's some on the other side. But again, the bottom needs to have a little bit trimming done to it. Okay, that opened it up nicely. So now there's plenty of room for the air to go through. Keep them lower leaves dry and prevent some downy mildew. And over here, guys, we have our Cherokee Purple tomatoes that we planted. We have the Praxis cherry tomato, and we tried them poblano seeds from 2015. Well, they didn't produce, which I am not surprised, but that's all right. But look at these. The Cherokee Purples are getting pretty tall. We need to transplant them a little bit deeper into some bigger pots. The Praxis cherries just look awesome. We're going to try and separate those and keep most of them. So we're going to pot those into bigger pots as well today. It's just a tomato day, guys. So there's the baby tomatoes. And this one here earlier I said was a beefsteak tomato, but it's actually a better bush hybrid tomato, a slicing kind of tomato. So that's what that is. And then of course we got our nice big cherry tomato plant. And that's the one, guys, remember I told you it's split at the bottom of the base because of the wind? Well, I taped it together, I staked it up, and it's doing wonderfully. Okay, so applying the organic granular fertilizer, guys, it's not rocket science. I just put about 2 small handfuls around the outer area. Just kind of add some, maybe one handful. That's it, one handful. Just kind of mix it in to the top couple of inches of soil. The microbes will start messing with it. You can cover it back up with your mulch. And there you go, the organic fertilizer is in, the slow release feed. I do this you're supposed to do it about every 2 months, this bag says. And again, same thing, about a handful, and just kind of put it around the outer edges. Mix it in a couple of inches. So the tomato plants need watered, so now that I put the granular fertilizer in, we'll water the soil in. Later, when the sun goes down, is when we'll do the liquid fertilizer on the plant. Okay, so in order to fertilize with the liquid fertilizer, the way I want to kind of wash down the leaves, you don't want to do that in direct sunlight. It says it won't burn it, but I don't ever water leaves in sunlight. So once that sun goes back behind my big trees, we'll get back to the fertilizing. But it's still early, so until then, I've had these pallets sitting here for quite a while. I'm going to take all the boards off of them because I need to make my wife a new shoe rack for in front of our door, by the front door. I did a video on shoe racks a long time ago, a couple of years back, on making it out of pallet wood. So anyway, I'm going to break down these pallets real quick, that way I have the wood available for when I'm ready to start that project. And the way I do it is I take my reciprocating saw with a metal blade on it, and I just go in between and cut the nails off, and then what I'll do with these is I'll just pop the nail heads out with a little punch and a little hammer. So take a look. Alright, so there you go. Out of 2 pallets, I got long ones because I could get behind the wood and cut the nail. This pallet here, man, I just could not get behind, in between the pieces to cut. So I just cut off the sections in between the main studs. Let me show you. Yeah, so where the wood was going, I couldn't get behind there to cut the nails, so I just cut on the inside of them all, both sides, and I just took the inner planks. Now these I can clean up and use them for something. Those are solid pieces, of like 2x4. Oh yes. I love recycling wood, and I get tons of pallets at work. And the pieces that break or are split, I just split them up into smaller pieces and I use them for the fires out back, which we might be doing one tonight, so it'll come in handy. And it frees up some room. I got this last pallet to do. Again, I'm going to try and get behind them, behind this seam, and cut it with the metal bit, but if it doesn't work, I'm just going to cut the sections out and keep it that way. Alright, so there you go. We got these nice 2x4 studs from the pallets. We got some more wood here. We got that whole setup right now. Nice different pieces of wood to make my shoe rack and whatever else I want to create. And that freed up a lot of space without them pallets just leaning up against here for the last few months. So I cleaned up the garage a little. It's looking good. Hello. And again, here's another thing I got to do again. Oh yes, more leaves just piling up off the trees. They come off the trees, they go onto the roof, they slide down the roof, and they land on my back porch and all over the grass. So this time I'm going to rake them all up again, guys, but I'm going to put them in black bags and just store them on the side of the house to compost all summer long. Hi, so what do you think? Alright, I cleaned up once again. Cleaned up this area a little more, and now here is my new pile of leaves. That's going to be about 3 big black trash bags full probably. And I just did this area. I still didn't go all the way back there, so we're gonna have plenty of leaves for some leaf mulch next year. The sun is down now. We're gonna do our liquid quick fertilizing on top of the plants and the top of the soil. Fish fertilizer we're doing We're going to do 2 tablespoons for 2 gallons. So a tablespoon a gallon basically for what we're doing. First thing you want to do is shake it up. Done deal. It's watered, it's ready to roll. Fertilizing is done. Little Sunday morning breakfast for the chickens. Let's go feed it to them. Good morning, girls. Want some fresh garden produce? Say, heck yeah, I want some fresh garden produce. I hear a woodpecker. That's a big woodpecker. Wonder where it is. Oh, okay, it isn't that big. Another woodpecker. Those were 2 different kinds of woodpeckers. That's a red-bellied woodpecker, and the other one we saw was a downy woodpecker, a little black and white one. He's pretty cute. Hello, little woodpecker. Okay, so I found that black tub I'm using to fill up with different soils in order to transplant the tomatoes this morning. Sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. I have been having a sore throat the last couple days. But anyway, I have that bag left over there of the Miracle-Gro organic container mix. I already have a few shovels full of my compost. And then, of course, in this tub, I still have some soil in there I'm going to use. I tell you what, the soil I've been holding in this tote is really nice soil. This came from another bed that we had, and it was overflow, so this is really good. I've had it sitting in here for well over a year. Still fine. Perfect. It'll be a good addition into that tomato transplant pot. Okay, so here's a good start to our soil we're going to use to transplant the tomatoes. We're going to mix it with the compost, break up any clods, and then I got the bag of Miracle-Gro organic. That doesn't look near as dark as my soil, but it'll work, it'll help. I love the smell of soil in the morning. It's a nice feeling. The sun's out, the birds are out. Another woodpecker. Okay, so let's put a nice base in there. Pack it down a little. Try and carefully take out. We're going to split these. Put it down in there. Add some more around. I'm just going to add a dash of this around the top. Mix it in. There you go. And now as it grows, I have room to add more soil to keep filling up the stem so it'll keep producing roots. So that's a nice base. There you go. And then I'll pick whichever one I like the best as they grow, and then that's the one I'll keep, the other one I'll cut off. Oh yes, oh yes. Look at all these tomato plants, guys. Okay, so we salvaged 4 of the Prax Cherry and 3 of the Cherokee Purples. Now I'm just going to water them in and let them roll. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that video of our tomatoes. We got them fertilized, we got them pruned, we got them transplanted into new pots. We're going to have a lot of good tomatoes this summer, I feel it. But right now I'm sitting out in the sun. It's only like maybe 8:30 or something in the morning. It's beautiful. Now I'm just going to relax the rest of the weekend. Enjoy my Sunday. We might take the dogs for a walk at the nature park. Who knows? We'll do something. And Tyler just came outside though, so guess what? I'm going to have to go play some soccer, I think. Happy birthday again to my boy, Anthony, 20 years old. Leap year day, baby, so he's really only 5. Happy birthday, Bubba. Love you. Ready to play? Oh, you got a Nerf gun out. Uh-oh, better watch my eyes. Y'all have a good week.